All right. So thanks everybody for joining today. As you may know, Lucas is out for holidays, so I'll be running the meeting. And the first side effect of him going out on holidays is we forgot to create the agenda. So there's no agenda for this meeting. And you know that you in these situations you realize how useful he is. How good he runs the meetings. So let me keep accepting people. And since there is no agenda, I will suggest to go directly for questions and answers. So if someone wants to start asking a question or suggesting a topic they want to discuss, I'm happy to let you continue.
I'll go then if no one else has any questions. I've been having a look at your Glee repo, which is looking really cool. I'm curious. So in the README, it talks about the goal of it being to generate server-side code. What in an async world, what does server-side mean? Does that imply the thing that's producing messages?
That's a good question. Thanks for asking, man. So I had this same thought last night while I was in bed. I was like, damn, I said server side because I didn't know how to describe this. I didn't want to say client side because usually this is associated with the browser and it's not for the browser, right? So in fact, what it does is usually it creates clients that publish or subscribe to brokers, right? So it's an application that will most probably will do both. It will publish to some topics on a Kafka broker, for instance, or it will subscribe to a topic. And so yeah, what it does is actually create a client, right? But when it comes to things like WebSockets, it will create a server. So you will become the server yourself because there's no broker, right? So other clients can send you message, and you can send messages to the clients, right? So that does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I admit that I have to think about it in a different way. I think the discussion that we're having around publish and subscribe could help model this confusion here as well. So the confusion that we're seeing at Glee here with this thing is that it's actually inherited from the confusion that is inherent to the spec. So yeah, I hope that we can clarify this further. So yeah, basically what it allows you to do is create applications, and applications might subscribe or publish to different topics. Depends on what your async API definition says. Anyone else?
I heard in your recent podcast, you mentioned about the release cadence for the spec. So, and now people are proposing new ideas for the spec. So, in case you make some sort of a change, how would you plan the release of the tooling around it so that you synchronize your spec release along with the tooling changes?
So one thing that we tell people to do when making contributions to the spec is to make a contribution to the JavaScript parser and ideally to one of the tools at least. So in order for your new feature on the spec, or your new your new feature on the spec to be merged, it needs to be implemented somewhere in some tooling, right? At the very least, the JavaScript parser, because that's the one that we use as a reference implementation for now, and ideally in some other tools like the generator, maybe Glee in the future, or another tool, another community build tool, not AsyncAPI official tool or anything, but someone from the community might want to implement it. Like for instance, Microx. So Microx is implementing AsyncAPI spec, and if they want, for instance, to propose a new change on the spec and it gets merged, they need to implement it on the JavaScript parser, on the JSON schema definition of the spec, and ideally on Microx, right? That would be the cool thing. So it becomes immediately available and useful for the users, right? We don't want people to propose changes just for the sake of proposing changes, right? We want these changes to be immediately useful. Here's the contribution guide on the spec, and if I am able to find it, well, so this, to reach stage 3 accepted on the spec, it needs a compliant implementation in the AsyncAPI JS parser and the AsyncAPI JSON schema. That's all it needs. So that's at least on the basic tools, right? On the basic tooling. On the more user-facing tooling, let's say, ideally people should be taking care of this. Each tooling vendor should be taking care of this. And but we're gonna try to always tell tooling vendors in advance that something is gonna be included in the next AsyncAPI release, and so they can start working on implementation as soon as possible, right? But that's something that doesn't depend on us. Our tooling, our official tooling, is always going to be updated to support the newest version as soon as possible. And as soon as possible, hopefully, right, is before the spec is released. So yeah, I hope this.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. I also would love to take the opportunity to say that even though the cadence is regular, so we have fixed months to release the spec, we are not going to be breaking the spec often, right? So if we know that there is a breaking change coming up, but we know that there are other breaking changes that people are working on, then we will tend to group them into a single release, right? So the spec is not continuously broken, right? And people don't have to be worrying about it.
Got it, makes sense.
It's summertime, I can see people are shy here today, not even showing their faces. What's happening today?
No one wants to see me melting. I'm staying off camera.
So, cool. We'll have to also mention that Tuesday today, I'm lost. So next Thursday at, let me check the time again. Next Thursday at 10 a.m. UTC, I'll be running another episode of Thinking Out Loud. And again, we'll be discussing the potential or creative solutions for the publish and subscribe challenge on the spec, as a continuing the discussion that we started with Lorna, and this time it will be with Dale. So Dale is here on the call, and yeah, so we'll love to. I wanted to know you before we actually announce it, right? Like, so you're part of our community, you are part of us, right? So you are AsyncAPI, so we want you to be, of course, as updated as possible, right? So yeah, and I also would love to mention that my aim with Thinking Out Loud show, if it can be called a show, right? These live streams are meant for like honest discussion and transparent discussion and trying to find creative ways of solving the challenges that we already have in the spec. I mean, I'm focusing on the spec right now, but it can be in the future, it can be for anything, right? And the idea is to find different ways for people to contribute. So some people might not have the time to sit down and write a huge proposal on how to fix something, but it is always easier to have a chat and explain what you mean, and then other people can listen to the idea and they can write it down, or we can write it down together. And these videos are also recorded, so they go to the GitHub issue, and as part of another comment, right? Like, you can think about them as another comment, like this person is commenting in a video, right? In a video format. So yeah, we're not gonna take decisions on the Thinking Out Loud live streams. It's not like that. So it is just like, it's just that it's actually thinking out loud. We want to just think about how to solve a challenge, and then we'll write down. I'll be doing in the beginning, at least. I'll write down what we discussed, the main or the key takeaways of the discussion, and so we can continue the discussion, right? It seems to be working so far. So the publish subscribe challenge is again reactivated, and we've seen Jess Miller from I think it was Jess Manning, not Jess Miller, Jess Manning from Solas. So you're in the call now. Leaving some comments there. So yeah, it seems to be working, which is cool. And also I think this is the way. So this is exactly what we want. Some people don't have time or are not in the mood to leave comments there, or they lack the context. So yeah, think about it as another way of contributing, right? Not just by leaving comments on a GitHub issue, but on a video format, right? On a live stream format. So with that said, I'm happy to take suggestions for next episodes or next. I'm gonna keep discussing the publish subscribe thing for probably 3 or 4 episodes in total, so 1 or 2 more, and then we'll switch to another thing, right? And probably we'll repeat people, we'll repeat the guests, right? Or we might not. We might invite other people. I also would love you to feel that this is an open place for each of you. So you don't have to be anyone respected in the community to participate in Thinking Out Loud. If you think you can have a voice, or you want to have a voice, and you have good ideas and you want to participate, just send me a message and say, hey, Frank, I want to get in. I want to join you in one of your Thinking Out Loud episodes. Let's do it. Let's do it together, right? So this is not, again, I was calling it a show, but it's not a show. Let's just see it as an exercise for us to collaboratively develop something, right? In this case, the spec. So yeah, you're welcome to join. And is there anything else you want to comment? I love the silences. All right, so if nobody has anything to say, I would love to make a demo, quick demo of what I've been working on, which is called Glee. And this is completely improvised because I wasn't thinking on doing this, but since nobody has anything to say, I think it's a good opportunity. I'm gonna be making a demo of this Glee framework. And let me just, this is what you came to see. Okay. Of course, I need to, you're not gonna see my screen because it's, it's a small screen. Yeah. It's like 3 times the size of a normal screen, the wide. So yeah, it is good for working, but not for sharing my screen. Then where's, so now I lost you. So cool, nice. Okay. All right, let me share my screen. I think this one is the config. You should all be seeing my screen. I'm gonna just trust Zoom here. So not gonna create an empty folder now. I'm here on the, let me just remove some confusion from here. So I am on the examples folder of Glee, and I'm just gonna create a new example, right? So I am actually sharing the, let me change what I'm saying. I want to share my whole screen, if possible. No, why not? Doesn't allow me to share my whole screen. And that's bad. Anyway, I'll just retrieve myself. So we have, you can go to, if you go to the link that I just shared on the chat, you'll find the documentation that is starting a new Glee project is as easy as running this command. And you need to have npm installed. That's the only thing that it requires, and probably Node.js. And it's a npm Glee app, create Glee app. And I'm just gonna call it improvisation, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. So it's gonna spin, it's gonna create a new Glee app with a basic example and setup, so that you can start from there and tweak it to create your own stuff. well, npm is known to be fast, so all right. All right, so we now have, as it's saying, you can now, suggesting is that you can now cd improvisation and npm run dev. And that will work out of the box without doing anything else. All right, cool. So it's working. You see that it's running Glee 0.4.1. It's very new. It's running in development mode. And the example that it creates is a WebSocket server, right? So it's saying that the server with the name WebSockets is ready to accept connections. Let me just explore here what it did. So it created this AsyncAPI file, which is an example, is a hello Glee example. It has a server listed, which is called WebSockets. That's why you see here WebSockets. And it's gonna listen on, actually it's gonna be bound to the broadcast. It was called, not the broadcast, can't remember. Anyway, to this IP port 3000 with the protocol WebSocket. And it's listing a channel called hello. And it says that clients can publish messages of this definition, and they also can subscribe to responses of the same format. So the message is as simple as a string. So you can send a string, and you can also receive a response as a string, right? So I was going to demo this by showing the showing it with Postman, but since I cannot share my whole screen and I don't want to be switching, I'm gonna use WebSocket. Why is it so slow? Zoom is eating all my resources. Cool. I think okay, that's okay. So I'm gonna just create a connection with this, right? And the hello on the hello channel, right? That is listed here. So okay, you see, we got a message saying connected to server WebSockets. Something is like it detected a connection happened. And I don't know, I'm just gonna say hola, right? And it receives the message on the hello channel. You see hola, blah blah, and then it says another message was sent on the same channel saying hello from Glee. You said hola, right? And here it is. So as simple as that, right? It is a basic example of a WebSocket API here. So what did it generate? So let's just start from the package JSON is a basic npm npm package. It's just nothing special. The only thing it has is Glee as a dependency. That's the only thing. And it has these two scripts, Glee dev and Glee start, which is why running npm run dev works, right? Same thing will work for npm start. Which other code do we have here? Not much. As you can see, we only have functions, .env, we have the AsyncAPI file, some git ignore, and usual stuff that is not code related. And we only have this function, which is called onHello, right? And this is saying that it's here, it's linked here, right? Like when someone publishes a message on the hello channel, we should be calling onHello. Then it's finding onHello.js on functions and executing it. And what it does is reply with a new message with payload hello from Glee, you said, whatever it was coming in the initial payload. Right? So that's it. There's not much else to showcase for now. I think I want you to see the basic functioning behind Glee. The idea here is that we are able to react to events that we receive from brokers or from clients in a very clean and easy way. So you don't have to be dealing with reconnections, security, and all this stuff. So all these things will be handled by Glee, so you don't have to deal with it. And you don't have to know every little details of the protocols. So all of this is abstracted. The only thing that you do is that you write your business logic. That's the only thing that you write. And for those who are wondering, like, okay, that's for reacting to events, but what if I want to be sending this proactively, sending events proactively? That's also covered. It's called lifecycle events. And you can proactively say, like, on start, when the application starts, send this message, or when the broker is connected, then send this message, or send this message every, I don't know, every 5 seconds, whatever you want to code there, right? It's up to your code. So you can also proactively take the initiative of sending the message, not being only reactive, right? And yeah, so the idea is that at some point, I mean, it's okay to continue like this. You can have your code like this, but it will also be cool if these functions could be structured to serverless functions. And so the code will not be there. Your code will be in a serverless provider. And, you know, that becomes, let's say, a little bit easier to handle the code, right? And you will be able to write your code in your preferred programming language, not necessarily JavaScript. So that's also a cool thing that we could be providing, and we will be providing. And also another idea is that the AsyncAPI YAML itself, the AsyncAPI file itself, doesn't have to live in the repo. So it could be in another repo, in a registry somewhere. And so whenever you release a new version of your AsyncAPI file, it could be automatically reloading or restarting the server, you know, restarting the application and taking the new definition, right? So yeah. Aside from that, like, things that I'm going to be implementing next is you get documentation by default exposed on an HTTP endpoint along with your server, right? So for instance, if you have a WebSocket server, you'll have an HTTP endpoint where you can download the AsyncAPI.json file, and you can also watch and read the documentation for humans, right? Not the JSON format. And yeah, and that's pretty much it. I hope that you give it a try, and please test it, please try it, please break it, and bring me and give me the feedback that you have, open issues, or leave a comment on the channel, on the tooling channel, whatever works best for you. So yeah. Any questions?
Hey, Fran, this is Hugo. Just a question on the...
Just a second, sorry, just a second. I'm not sure why I'm hearing you on another place and I'm not hearing you well. this mess. Can you speak again, sir?
Yeah, is it better now?
Ah, damn, fucking Zoom. I don't know why it's changing the the speaker.
That's the problem when you have a professional setup in your home office.
I have too many mics and speakers. More than I need, I will say. So yeah. Now it's fine. Thanks. Sorry.
Cool. Yeah, I was checking. So currently, you create a project with the company. Is there a way to extend and customize the code that it's created? I mean, like you can have like extensions, or can you use another template for the implementation, or is just the ones that you have currently available?
No, actually, there is. It is possible. So one thing that I shamelessly did is I copied this create Glee app script is copied from the create next app from Next.js. And if you provide a folder, can't remember the params, but if you provide the name of a folder, it will create, or the name of a repo, sorry, the name of a GitHub repo, it will generate a template using that repo as a, sorry, it will generate a project using this repo as a template. So yeah, it is possible.
Okay.
And also, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, that was exactly the use case that I was looking for. Exactly.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I mean, actually, at some point, we're gonna be leveraging our AsyncAPI generator to generate this project, most probably, because we have a cool generator, right? So it will be cool to leverage generator for that purpose, right? So yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Welcome. Also, I see that Aayush was asking, it's running the function based on the file name. Yes, it is. So it is finding operation ID on hello, and then it was searching on the functions folder for onhello.js. And that's by convention, so it is easier, right? If we see people complaining about this or wanting to customize this, that will also be possible to customize, I'm sure. And we could create a customization, a configuration, right, for that. By the way, I forgot to mention that there is a config file that wasn't shown in this basic project because it wasn't needed, but you can have a glee.config.js file, and there you can place some configuration to customize your project. There's not much that you can customize right now, but we plan to be adding more stuff there. So yeah, I mean, have a look at the documentation because I think everything should be relatively easy to follow there, I hope. And if it's not, please let me know. So yeah, my main goal with this is to make developer experience like, you know, super easy and super pleasant, and you know, and actually the name of the framework was exactly like, this is what I want people to feel while using the framework, right? I want people to feel glee, right? To feel happiness. So that's exactly why I chose this name. So yeah, that's gonna be the main focus. I understand that it's not for everyone. It's not, frameworks that are never for everyone. Some people will not like it. That's fine. But I think if we can help reduce the amount of time that someone spends from having an AsyncAPI file to actually delivering some value, if we can reduce this amount of time to minutes, that will be awesome, right? Then if people prefer to use another thing, that's also cool. So what you say, Maciej? You say in the formatting of the repo name is create your name app. What is this?
The format for the template.
Not
That you
necessarily,
must-
I think, right?
That you must name the create GLI app. Yes, create React app, create Next.js app. So then you have the template to npm to run the npx and
Yes.
your name of the template.
But I don't think, I think it's handled by create GLI app, like by the code itself. And it doesn't have to have this format, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just check. But of course, it's not showing up in Google yet. Of course, it's too early. Damn it. Yeah, so here it is described. So you can run npx create GLI app and then -- example and a GitHub URL. And then your project will be bootstrapped with what it finds in this repo, right? And if you provide the name, it will use one of the official examples that you can find on the examples folder. So yeah. Any questions, suggestions, detractions? Well, so that's food for thought. I'm going to leave a message, a link here on chat. One of the things that we've been testing early in the process is thinking like, is there a way that we can have the functions in different programming languages and still being able to execute them? Turns out we can, and we managed to find a way. And we did a test with Java, which is working well so far. So far, it's not obviously production ready, not even close. Not anything on GLI is even production ready yet. But it turns out that it's going to be possible, not just in Java, but on any programming language. And if you have a look at the example, you will see that the functions are written on Java, and it works. By the way, it leverages Modelina. It leverages this library, Modelina, which is something that I think mainly Jonas is working on right now. But it was started by Maciej and Jonas. And yes, so it is auto-generating your models based on your message definitions. So you don't have to worry about it. And it's, mapping to Jackson in the case of Java. So it does everything you need. So yeah. Just food for thought. And if you want to play with it as well, and that would be super useful. It is behind the feature flag, which is not documented, by the way. I should have said that. And the feature flag is experimental Java, like this, dash. I don't know, this is putting the two dashes together, but it's dash. So yeah. if you do it like this, you will be able to use Java. And that's it. I mean, that's it from my side. Again, if you have any questions, I think it's your time, and don't hesitate to ask. All right, folks. So thanks a lot for joining the meeting, and enjoy the summer. We have better things to do than being here in a meeting, speaking about code, I'm sure. Bye-bye. See you next meeting. Enjoy.